The start of the 2019 YNZR Graphics Unreal Tour seems like a distant memory. Back in March, we started the season off, and now it's time to begin the closure of the season with the playoffs for the 2019 YNZR Graphics Unreal Tour. Over the next couple rounds, we're gonna basically finish off the season here, Finny, in the old-fashioned way. Just whoever has the most points at the end of the season wins the championship. And there's a couple drivers we know are going to be the ones to watch. Of course, Chad Frankenfield, of course, Matt Gruenberg. But who else is in this chase, do you think, that could really spice up the rest of the season?
Well, one guy that's been on a really good roll in the truck series is Jordan McEvoy in the 21. He's been doing pretty well at quite a few of the recent tracks we've been to in the later part of this season, and it's definitely going to carry over into the playoffs as car goes flying through the infield grass in the background. But yeah, definitely looking forward to see what he can bring to the table, especially with guys like Matt Gruenberg and Cameron Rich dominating the playoffs early on with some bonus points from wins throughout the season.
We're going to settle this first round of the playoffs at Atlanta Motor Speedway, a 1.5-mile track that at one point was NASCAR's fastest if you excluded Daytona and Talladega. The years have worn on this racetrack, and the pavement is very, very rough, and it's very, very hard to go fast around here without sliding out of control. So the playoffs begin tonight, Finny. On the left-hand side of the screen, the drivers lit up in blue, or your playoff contenders, of course, Frankenfield, Close, Darbyshire, Caple, Lindsay, Rich, Hill Jr., and others, McEvoy, Hinds, Gruenberg, and more. On the left-hand side of the screen, those are the drivers you'll be watching all evening long. So wins are the name of the game here, Finny. And how they got yourself in, or actually, is it Cup that was winning your in, or was it Truck? One of the two.
Cup is winning your in.
Cup was winning your in. So the wins are not necessarily important to winning the championship. You can point your way to a championship, but I think it'd be pretty hard to do that, Finny. So how important is a win tonight for some of these drivers?
I think it's definitely going to be, again, really, it is more of a matter of consistency, but I think with guys like Gruenberg, Rich, and Frankenfield in the field, you're pretty much almost going to have to win or finish in the top three to finish in most of these races, because those guys have been absolutely dominant in both series, and I think it's going to continue on into the playoff segment in both series. So you're really going to have to be on top of your game, especially because there isn't any kind of round split up. Every race is going to matter, so you don't even just have to win and do well in most of the races. You have to make sure you do well and don't get into yourself in a wreck and lose a lot of points, because you could easily take yourself out of a championship in one race, because there's only 6 races.
So one easy way to tell a driver that is in the playoffs versus one that is not is if you take a look at the windshield banner, plain old black windshield banner on drivers like the 99 of Race Clark. If you jump to the driver that is in the playoffs here, you'll see that blue banner with the carbon fiber accents on the left and right. That is your playoff banner with the blue in the background.
Yeah, I was going to say, and also I believe they're running blue splitters and blue spoilers in the back, so that should be a good indicator as well.
So qualifying is underway here, and it looks like it's already completed, and only 10 drivers took a time here. And Matt Gruenberg, the quickest of them, with a 31.437. He will be your pole sitter tonight. Surprised, Finian, that only about not even half of our field took a lap in qualifying.
Not too surprising. I think the fastest guys that wanted to be towards the top of the charts, I think they definitely wanted to put their times in and get themselves up there. Guys who are a little bit probably not as confident in their ability for this race, I think they might be electing to start a little bit further back and just let the chaos of the opening few laps play out.
So a couple drivers to take note of as well. Chuck Sweeting in the 26 truck, looking pretty solid in qualifying. Qualified in second place. Of course, not one of the drivers competing in the playoffs. So for the drivers that are not in it, it's go for broke. Get some wins while you still can, Finian, and maybe you're going to try to be careful and not run into people. But at the same time, this is your chance to shine in the middle of the playoff gaggle when everyone's going for the championship. To get yourself a victory and get yourself on a podium would look really, really good in your racing resume right about now.
Yeah, and again, at this point, really, it doesn't matter. I mean, obviously, you can argue that the place that they finish in the championship is going to matter, but for most of these guys, it's really nothing. You're not going to earn anything, so pretty much, yeah, it is go for bro for a lot of these drivers at the end, which could be pretty big considering some of the tracks we go to. We start at Atlanta, then we're going to head to Talladega, Coda, Knoxville, Five Flags, and Homestead. So there's pretty much a little bit of everything in that schedule. You go to short tracks, road tracks, and even a dirt track as well, as long as the super speedway that is Talladega. So a lot of opportunities to try to get a win before the season ends.
Air temp tonight, a very warm 80 degrees here in Atlanta and 110 on the racetrack. And Atlanta's known for being a very low-grip racetrack to begin with. So how is the high track temp going to affect the drivers tonight? I think we're going to see a lot of drivers slipping and sliding out there.
Yeah, I was noticing in practice there are quite a few guys slipping and sliding out there, especially when with the track looking pretty clean. Doesn't look like there's much rubber put down on it from a decent amount. So they'll have that to at least work with to try to minimize. But really, you can notice too, if you actually can go back to that shot, that the outside lane, not as much rubber put down yet. So I think we're going to see a lot of guys, start at the bottom. Maybe some guys play with it up top side, but I think definitely the bottom line is going to be dominant tonight.
So the field begins to roll off for their one pace. Let's take a look at our starting lineup for tonight on the front row. Actually, that is not functional right now. Forgot about that. Well, we have Matt Gruenberg and the 26 of Chuck Sweeting rolling off. And if anyone's wondering, the 3WideRacing League uses custom number graphics, and they were being a little finicky with the gridding graphics. So the field rolls off here. It's the Trent Frankenfield in row number 2 alongside Joshua Adams in the number 95 car. And Justin Kolb shares row number 3 with Sam Close in his number 5 machine. And row number 4, I believe, there is a brightly colored car right behind. It is a purple machine, and it is the 44 of Matt Hackathorn. And look, different livery on this car this week. That is a great looking race truck, isn't it?
Yeah, I noticed when I was doing cameras earlier. Yeah, it's a really nice looking truck, a nice looking paint scheme. And you can definitely use the refresh. You get one of those drivers just kind of going out there and trying to do the best that he can. But if you can look through the field, there's a very pretty big spread for all our championship competitors. So it'll be interesting to see some of the faster guys in the back work their way up.
So up at the front of the field, it's the 54 Matt Gruenberg, walked in the point leader, Finian. I mean, the chances that he wins the championship are extremely high, but you're going to have to be perfect for the next couple of races to get yourself in a position to win come Homestead at the end of the season. Pace car about to roll off 114 laps here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. A hot sun beating down on the pavement, making it slippery and sliding. Green flag flies, racing in Atlanta.
A great start from Matt Gruenberg over the rest of the field there. You see him behind Chuck Sweeting and Frankenfield going for the spot. Joshua Adams falling in line, and a big spread of drivers going out into turns 1 and 2.
Everyone's just going to be trying to feel out their trucks right now. The grip level kind of unknown at the moment. So everyone's just going to take the first few laps, get themselves acclimated to the environment. Try not to throw your race away early. Luis Salmaso in the Ford truck on the outside lane. That's Hackathorn on the inside, and they're going to go side by side, and Tate Lytle going to look up the outside as well to try to carry that run. You mentioned the outside lane might take a little while to roll in. Well, Tate Lytle looks like he's trying to work it in now.
And everyone is kind of, like you said earlier, just feeling out the track. This is definitely one of those places where you really want to feel out in the car before you really push it over the edge, because you can easily see, and we usually do see a lot of guys sliding in the first few laps and then causing a wreck, but we'll see how these guys sort themselves out. Hackathorn running in 9th, but Frankenfield still fighting up here. He's actually now fighting back with Adams for 3rd place.
Yeah, Chad Frankenfield, again, he's got to chase down that 54 because there's no resets, there's no eliminations. If you want to beat that 54, you have to go up there and beat him the old-fashioned way. Right now, he sits 3rd, has a little ways to chase down Gruenberg, who already has a half-second lead 2 laps in.
Yeah, and even to Caple, and even to go on that too, Frankenfield's 16 points behind Gruenberg at the start of this, because Gruenberg got a lot of wins this season, and there was a lot of bonus points to him, so he's got a head start on most of the rest of the championship competitors.
Battling throughout the field towards about 9th and 10th place. That's Cameron Rich right ahead of this group, but it's Hackathorn and Hunt. And Hackathorn already looking like he's falling back a couple spots, so not off to a spectacular start as Dave Hunt looks to move forward. Background, you see Cody McCorkle in his 12 truck. Has had all sorts of bad luck. Had a lot of bad luck at Myrtle Beach a few weeks ago. And looking for a little redemption here at Atlanta already. You can see the rear end of that truck just hanging out on corner entry and being very light on the throttle here to not upset it on corner exit. You see him bobbling just a touch.
Yeah, you see Robert Hill Jr. running that outside lane. Also a truck in the background, I think Darbyshire. He's also trying the top lane.
Yeah, remember, Robert Hill Jr. is one of the playoff contenders, as is Darbyshire. Darbyshire is all the way back in 20th right now. A long way to go for this driver.
Oh, sorry, I was referring to Richard Hinds, who's running the high lane in the background. But yeah, Darbyshire also in the mix with these guys. Currently back in 20th, so has a ways to go.
He's already gained 3 spots the first 5 laps, though. Up front, Matt Gruenberg, was leading by half a second, but that lead is beginning to dwindle just a touch as Sweeting is beginning to reel him in.
Keep an eye on Sweeting as he tries to close his gap. It is dropping every loop that goes by, so he's been consistently closing in.
And again, I expect this race to go green quite a bit of ways here, because typically what we've been seeing so far this year, especially on the Cup side, is you get a couple cautions earlier than long green flag runs, but the reason why you get those long green flag runs is people get spread out. And already we're seeing the field really stretched out, almost over a third of the lap already. So that tells me we're going to see a lot of green flag running tonight. And Sweeting really is reeling in Gruenberg at the moment.
Curious how much closer he's going to be able to get to the back of that 54. Because, you know, I have a feeling he might stall out just a little bit being right in behind Gruenberg. He might have to try a different way around, but he's still gaining on him through the corner. Actually, Gruenberg's slipping quite a bit.
A bit of a bobble for the 54. And Sweeting closing in quite a bit. And Chuck Sweeting has been really good at some points in this year, but hasn't been able to really capitalize on it a whole lot. So I think we're going to see this 26 be really, really competitive tonight. Closing in on Gruenberg for that top spot. The gap is 1/10 of a second as they make their way across the start-finish line. 7 laps complete. Got a long way to go, but already Chuck Sweeting challenging the race leader.
Yeah, looking to the outside of Gruenberg, where can't get it done. He's really going to have to try to build up a run here, because these guys are pretty equal on speed. There's not a whole lot of you know, acceleration from these cars. They're very similar to the Cup package, more or less, on how they race.
Riding on board with Sweeting down off into turn 3. Ooh, a bit of a bobble for him on entry. See how bumpy it is here. This pavement is old. It's really low grip, and of course it's very bumpy as well. So it's got a lot of character, as drivers like to say. They've threatened to repave this place a bunch of times, and all the drivers said, please don't do that. And because I enjoyed whipping around this place, and it does definitely lend itself to the field spreading out, but it also lends itself to the drivers being able to make a difference, even with trucks that don't have as much horsepower as the Cup cars used to have.
Yeah, so Chuck Sweeting falling back to about 0.3 of a second, trying to reel back in the leader. He's looking through the rest of the field. We got Dave Hunt. He's trying to hold off Marquis Smith in 11th.
Cody McCorkle at the inside of the 27 of Cogswell, and McCorkle rockets on through into the 15th spot. He started in 25th. He's up 10 spots in that 12 truck so far, so a great start for him as he rockets off turn 4, tries to get that power to the ground, and working over McEvoy now for 14th.
Yeah, he's going to throw his truck to the inside of the 21. They're going to be side by side for a second. Looks like McEvoy is going to give him the spot to move McCorkle up into 14th.
Looking really strong already up the road. Josh Adams side by side with Luis Salmaso and trying to chase down Justin Colvin, that 25 truck. This is all a battle for the 5th spot on the racetrack.
Looks like Adams is going to get the nice run off of turn 4. Going to clear the forest. Salmaso move himself up into 6th, or at least keep himself in 6th place. And I'm going to look to the outside of Justin Colvin, the 25.
Yeah, and of course we're seeing some drivers pushing the boundaries with the outside lane already. Maybe a bit early for that. I mean, you mentioned that there's not a whole lot of rubber up there, but you got to get the rubber there somehow. And looks like they're trying that outside lane here early and trying to get that line rubbered in so they can use it later to be on the attack. It already looks like there's adequate grip up there to at least stay put.
Oh, and Cobb slipping and sliding, still sliding.
Wow, all over the racetrack with that back end. And we've seen drivers wreck on the straightaways at tracks like this. We got an issue out of turn 4. Tate Lytle spinning on the front straightaway.
Of which,
he'll stay mostly straight and he'll catch it.
Ooh, that's going to be a penalty for him. Should be able to get that cleared. Still not done.
That was a long slide for Tate Lytle. And let's take a look at how this started. And it was running in front of Dave Hunt in the 53. And just throttle up. It was way offline on a corner exit and just got way sideways through the grass, track through the dirt, bumps and slides over the Legends track, and managed to somehow keep it relatively straight.
I was going to say, great job just keeping it out of the racing line, because he easily could have turned it back up into traffic, but did his best to keep it down there, but it lost a huge amount of time in the process. He's really going to need a caution, and the way this race is looking out so far, people keeping it pretty clean and green.
Well, I'm just curious what's going to happen when the tires wear out, because we've seen that's when things really get interesting here. There's a quick battle for 10th. We're going to jump back a little deeper in the field, though. Race Clark in that red 99, Darbyshire on the bottom in that black and red 66. And just ahead of them, that is Jordan McEvoy in the 21, who looks like he's struggling a little bit. Again, he's a playoff driver, buried in 14th right now. And wow, the 99 all sorts of sideways out of turn 4.
Yeah, Clark was sideways trying to get a line to the inside of McEvoy at the moment, but almost made some contact there. Now he's going to look to the inside in turn 1. And McEvoy's going to let him on through. Here comes Darbyshire now, trying to make an opportunity.
And here's some apples to apples. The blue splitters and blue spoilers together, and Ausin Darbyshire works his way ahead of McEvoy.
Also teammates there trying to work with each other.
Salmaso and Cole, they're battling for 7th place right now, right behind Josh Adams, who settled into P6. But just ahead of them, Cameron Rich in the 17 truck. He's won a couple races so far this year. He started in 11th. He's up 6 spots to P5. And he's looking pretty quick as well. So last time by, he was actually 2/10 quicker than our leader and actually the fastest truck on the racetrack. So I think Cameron Rich is in good shape to go chase down those top 4.
It's starting to make his way up through the order. I think he might need a little bit of a caution to just kind of help him get everyone back, bunch back up, because he spent a lot of that time passing other trucks. and has lost a bit of time to the leaders.
So you see how much we've spread out. And a lot of the field's still in turns 3 and 4, and the leaders are down in turns 1 and 2 already. So almost half a lap separation at the front.
Yeah, so which at the rate they're going at by lap 30, half the field should be a lap down. Is going off pace alone.
Hackathorn up the racetrack, trying to get out of the way. Here comes Race Clark.
And this is where you typically see a lot of these cautions happen when these kind of packs form.
And it's sideways, sliding up the racetrack into the fence goes Matt Hackathorn. He'll save it, he'll bounce off the wall and get some significant right front damage. And you mentioned it, this is when it starts to get a little sketchy out there. And for Hackathorn, that meant a slide up into the fence. Corey Lindsay is going to take advantage of it. And Hackathorn is going to immediately come down pit lane and try to make it down here. Just going to get to pit road.
Oh boy.
And we'll see if that results in a penalty or not, but he should come down to pit lane and see if he gets tires and fuel, or if this might just be the night for him. He's struggling out there. Remember, he started in 7th place, so down 14 spots. Tate Lytle is 1 lap down here, Finney, and he has not come to pit lane, but he's just rolled over and let some of the leaders on by. So Lytle, ooh, he's also got some right side damage.
Yeah, he might have had an incident off of 2 as well.
Yeah, his last lap time was 47 seconds long, so let's go back and see what happened in the 56. This is actually on the front straightaway. He actually spun all the way around.
Wow.
And here it is, out of turn 4, same deal.
Again.
Oh,
wow.
Impact into the concrete there. No save for barrier protecting that.
Did a great job getting it right in the back straight again, but got hard leg for the 56.
Yeah, that's not going to go so well. Meanwhile, Cody McCorkle slow on the back straightaway. And all of a sudden, trucks dropping like flies. And what happened to the 12 truck now? Probably the same situation. In turn 2, sideways and slipping and sliding. Tried to catch it. Walked it up the hill here.
Oh, almost had it saved, and then, yeah, just overcorrected into the wall hard.
Seeing a lot of drivers beginning to struggle with handling. We're only 19 laps into this run, about halfway through until we'll probably see some pit stops.
Yeah, and I'm sure drivers cannot wait to finally get on pit road and change their tires.
Salmaso and Josh Adams fighting for 6th place. This will be the 4 car working over the 95 and putting some pressure on now for P6. Kevin Finn unable to start tonight due to hardware issues. Not sure about Kyle Hanshaw. He started the race and is already 6 laps down.
Yeah, he's already called it a day early on. The first truck to retire, the 23 that took a green flag.
You can hear how little the Ford truck is on the gas. When they get down to the corner, listen how much off throttle time.
There, now he just finally... Nope.
No, not yet.
There you go.
They're just balancing on the throttle all the way around here. And it's amazing that they're actually, they're running 34-second laps. That's slow for Atlanta, even in a truck. They're just pedaling it around here because the track is very, very slippery.
Yeah, I think this is, again, especially, with a lot of other guys struggling, I think they're trying to, make sure that they don't get their truck pointed the wrong way, because it's very easy to do so. And we've seen quite a few guys have the problem, especially Tate Lytle, too, who's one of the fastest guys in this series, and he's been having some problems.
Up at the front of the field, Chuck Sweeting has tried to run down Matt Gruenberg. He was close, but wasn't able to get anything done, and right now he's reeled him back into 0.2 of a second. Salmaso, I think he's had an issue on the front straight. Big right front damage for the Ford truck. Yeah, this is going to be a very similar story, I imagine. Here's a look.
Yeah, I think loose off of turn 4 here. He comes through. Right in front of Adams. I wonder if he got involved.
Oh, Adams was able to cross over and slid up, pounded the fence with the right front. That's going to be some significant damage for the Ford truck, and he's really slow on the backstretch. Again, playoff implications. We don't have that many races. You don't get a great opportunity to make up any mistakes that you might have. And you see Race Clark now working over Jeffrey Fisher. This 99 truck has worked his way up the racetrack. So actually, he slid down a couple spots. The 42, on the other hand, has jumped up a few. And Salmaso has hit pit lane here finally, Finian, and this is not what he needed.
Yeah, not at all what I needed to, especially after having a pretty solid run.
Oh, he's going to slide through his box as well.
Oh, yeah. So, not a good day for the Ford truck so far, but Cameron Rich up into 3rd place after starting in 11. I was honestly kind of surprised that I think he either wasn't able to get in a qualifying lap or got on a very slow run, as he was around the point where the last few guys that qualified made their time. So I wasn't able to check if he did or not, but that's why he started in 11. And I found that a little bit odd, It's not that far back, but I think quite far for Cameron Richard. We're definitely seeing that he should have been further up the order.
Yeah, and if we take
as he's wiggling off turn 4.
More wiggles and more waggles for the 17 truck. Last time by was 0.2 quicker. Okay, make it 0.1 quicker than the leader. A 33.770 to a 33.882 by our leader, Matt Gruenberg. So that gap right now, 4 seconds to the 54 truck.
Yeah, and he is sliding it through turn 2.
And Salmaso has called it a day. So, a driver that came in here, Finian, not in the playoffs, but just this is going to really hurt him, I think, just in trying to keep the season going. And I think this is what we're going to see a little bit of, is drivers that are not in the playoffs, they really don't have anything to lose other than Frankenfield across the straightaway.
Yeah, he's got something to lose, and he's going to lose a spot to Sam Close. Good save, though. Could have been a lot worse for him, but that's just, you know, it's only going to get worse from here on out.
Oh, this little fight. Richard Hinds following this, a new livery on board this car this week, and chasing Jordan McEvoy and Rusty Caple.
Yeah, a bunch of blue names in this battle. Here comes Richard Hinds with a run on the outside of Jordan McEvoy, who slowly dropped down the order. He's really not liking the conditions out here.
Well, and also he's got some pretty heavy right side damage as well, so he's been in the wall. As it comes back around, we'll be able to see that a little bit better. But yeah, he's been in the fence once or twice tonight, and that seems to be hurting his performance as he drops down to 18th place. He started in 13th, so -5 for the 21. And Justin Kolb in the 25, he's coming down the pit lane with some damage. And for Kolb, not what he needed either for a good run. I think we're at Dover or Darlington with all the right side contact we've had here. Dave Hunt in the 53. He's running 11. This is a decent run for the 53 truck so far.
Yeah, and they're sticking in with this big pack led by Marquise Smith, and then followed in by Jeffrey Fisher and Ausin Darbyshire right in front of the 53. But yeah, he's doing pretty good. Has a chance to even move up inside the top 10 a little bit further.
And the field has really spread out. Here's Matt Gruenberg on the entering turn number 3. Let's jump back to the last car on the lead lap. That's Jordan McEvoy all the way in turn 4. So Gruenberg is really about to start lapping people on speed alone, and that's really dangerous for everyone else. Sweeting has fallen back to about a half a second behind the leader. Everyone else is separated by about a half second apart. Race Clark in the 99 trying to catch Dave Hunt again, and Richard Hinds in the 2 truck beginning to reel in Rusty Caple. 29 laps complete of 114, about 48 minutes of green flag racing remaining. We have had no cautions so far. We've also had no lean changes. It's been all Matt Gruenberg. He started on pole, and Caple sideways out of turn 4, left to give up a spot.
Yeah, I'll be able to collect it too, though. You see him lose such a big run down the straightaway, so much so that here comes McEvoy on the outside of the 9. There's Matt Hackathorn, too.
Hackathorn's going to go 3 wide on the outside, make that hole work, and he'll go around both of them, but a bobble up into the fence, scrapes the wall at the right rear, but otherwise, 2 spots in 1 corner.
Yeah,
Hackathorn's up to 19.
Yeah, Hackathorn's up to 19, but 2 laps down.
Yeah, I was going to say, that wasn't actually for position, and he actually does have fresh tires, so that was why.
Yeah, I was going to say, I knew that he had fresh tires with the run that he had. Speaking of runs, here comes Tate Lytle. Oh, caution.
And it is Josh Adams in the 95, one of our front runners inside the top 10. And looks like it was just a spin, no damage visible on this truck. But our first caution of the night on lap number 31, and everyone breathing a sigh of relief. Here's a look. Just gets off into the corner, and he's already tracking kind of poorly up the racetrack. And just gets out of, control. There's really nothing he could have done about that.
I mean, there was something he could have done, and he did exactly that and keep it off the wall. Oh, some great car control there.
Just steps out and gas it up, brake, gas it up.
Yeah, that was a beautiful combination of throttle and brake to keep it off. Look at that.
That's skill right there, folks.
Yeah.
But he slides down off the banking. He'll continue in 10th place. And the field's going to catch back up, and everyone's going to come down pit lane. No surprises here.
Yeah, also of note, Justin Kolb, who came down to the pits earlier, he's also going to call it a night. So that brings down our total amount of running trucks down to 20.
And I don't think we're going to see anybody even try to stay out here. So now, with a typical, or I guess I would say with the new style playoff formats that we're not running, the ones where there's eliminations and that sort of thing, that seems to put an increased importance on each race. So in a format like this, Can you afford a bad race if you want to win the championship? Or is it still you need to finish in the top 2 or 3 every single race to guarantee yourself a shot?
It's pretty much you have to finish in the top 2 or 3. I mean, you could afford a bad race. It depends on what you consider a bad race. Finishing outside of the top 10 or just completely wrecking out. I think, especially considering too that it's only 6 races, if you wreck out, you're kind of at a loss. And you really just have to hope that your other championship competitors also suffer the same fate and have a bad race.
So, Chuck Sweeting's going to win the race off pit lane here, Finney. And do you think he can run away? How much does track position matter tonight? Because we always see drivers say that they want to have control back. They want to be slipping and sliding. They want to have wheel spin and that sort of thing. But we also had the same situation, I would say, at Texas a few weeks ago with the Fuel Mission 22 Cup Series. Maybe not wheel spin, but it was very, very loose, and drivers complained that they couldn't pass. So, what do you think about Gruenberg? How long do you think it'll take to get him back around the 26 truck? Because Matt Hackenthorne almost crashed there on the pace line.
Yeah, I had the back end come out a little bit, but I'm going to keep it straight. Yeah, I think, honestly, with this track, the way it's looking like, I think you can pass. It's going to be pretty difficult, and I think you definitely want to start up pretty high, but it's not nowhere near the situation with the current Cup car where it's next to impossible to pass due to just the aero wash. You have a lot to work with the trucks as far as different lines getting runs on each other. And you can run in behind one another without just completely losing the arrow to your nose. These trucks aren't as aero dependent as the Cup cars, so it's less said and done with that. So you can definitely lose a few spots and make it up as long as you save the tires. And I think really just saving the tires is going to be the big factor for tonight.
Track conditions tonight, 80 degrees. That hasn't changed, the air temp, but the track temp has risen about 6 degrees since we started. And I can expect to see that to continue because not only are the trucks running around there, Finney, we're also darkening the racetrack with the rubber. And of course, the blacker the surface gets, the more heat we're going to get into this. So it's only going to get worse out there for these drivers.
I'm sure all of them are cursing the fact that we don't have the night version of this track. Because I'm sure they would love to be running in that, or at least in the afternoon.
It's way more fun.
I mean, it's just a lot more comfortable too. Like this is kind of fun, but I think, especially considering some of the guys just leaving due to some little damage, I think it's really frustrating as a driver with this package because as soon as you, get some damage to the truck, you're pretty much out of it. And once the tires get hot, especially too.
Well, I guess it's a sellout crowd here tonight in Atlanta. Chuck Sweeting leads the way. He was trying to chase down Matt Gruenberg through the first 25 or 30 lap run that we had, and then it was for the 95 of Josh Adams that spun, that looped around, that triggered our first yellow of the night, and he will restart in the 15th position alongside Jordan McEvoy. So we'll see how long it takes this 95 to get back up running near the front. I'm curious now about Chad Frankenfield because he's going to restart directly behind our race leader, and we're going to see if that inside line goes. We've seen in the past the outside line, Atlanta, is not really the place you want to be to get a good restart, so we'll see if Gruenberg can hang on.
Yeah, this could be Chuck Sweeting's best chance at getting the lead back. He was running completely in behind the 54 beforehand, but now has a chance to take away the lead and steal it, and we'll see if Gruenberg has anything, and even to Cameron Rich, because remember I was saying if he had a caution, he might be able to tangle up with these two guys. He's up there right now in third.
So, at the front of the field, it's looks like we got a pair of Chevrolets, and then actually I think we got a couple rows of Chevrolets before our first Toyota. And out of turn number 4, pace car is going to pull off, and it's going to be Chuck Sweeting and Matt Gruenberg, Cameron Rich, and Chad Frankenfield on the restart zone. Green flag back in the air in the first round of the 2019 YNZR Graphics Unreal Tour playoffs.
Yeah, and a perfect start for the front 2 rows. You see them completely break away from the rest of the field and immediately get single file. As they all sort down into turn 1, but you see them behind them, still a group forming and a pack forming out of turn 2.
So, almost side by side on corner exit there, Gruenberg pushing the issue on Chuck Sweeting. And there's some 3 wide behind him as we get off into turn 3, and they've settled back out to 2 wide, but Sam Close and Marquise Smith fighting for P6. But at the front of the field, Chuck Sweeting leads the way. Can he run away from Gruenberg?
I think it's going to be a pretty tough thing to do. Gruenberg, one of the fastest guys out there, especially on the shorter run. Actually, there you see Sweeting go defensive on the high side. I think a little bit too high, as Gruenberg is going to easily be able to take the spot on the bottom.
Yeah, too early in the run, I think, to use that high lane. But so Gruenberg's going to get the lead back behind him, Marquise Smith. And that is Robert Hill Jr. in the 38, climbing the way up. But Sweeting goes back to the outside lane and then tucks back in line. Looked like he wanted to try that, but he can't. A couple laps after the restart, there's enough grip to stay in that bottom groove, and he's slipping and sliding, trying to hang on to it.
Yeah, slipping, sliding already. Cameron Rich is going to take advantage of that, immediately go to the outside of the 26 per second.
At the front of the field, Gruenberg has led the first 30 or so laps. It was Sweeting that restarted in first, but he does not have any grip right now. Cameron Rich goes around the outside for second place, and here comes Chad Frankenfield battling Gruenberg for that points lead. He needs to finish in front of the 54 if he wants to have a shot.
And Cameron Rich, too, he's in a much better situation than Frankenfield. He's only 6 points behind Gruenberg due to Cameron Rich having 3 wins. So, you know, he's still got to finish ahead of Gruenberg to, you know, beat him in the points or at least gain something on him this race. But second place isn't too bad early on.
Rich exploring the outside lane here. It really doesn't seem like it's in all the way. I mean, it'll be there later for sure.
I think if you
want
want
the preferred groove later, I would imagine.
If you want to be in the high lane, I would say go for the middle lane because that lane is the middle lane's pretty rubbered in and will give you a lot of the benefits you're looking for up high. And especially can't use it like you said because it's just not enough rubber down there.
How about Marquis Smith? This driver just entered for the first time a few weeks ago at the Sonoma Rallycross scores and started 22nd tonight. He's up inside the 6th position in that 63 Toyota Tundra. He's been pretty impressive the couple races that he has entered, at least maybe on the finishes, but the runs that he's had during the race have been pretty darn good. So I think the 63 truck is not too far away from breaking into competitive win territory. Jumping back a little ways in front of Race Clark, rather, Josh Adams in the 95. Remember, he dropped all the way back to 22nd. Now he's, 15th. He's back up to 11th place in the 95.
Yeah, it's been a solid climb forward for him ever since his little spin off the track, but now he's going to try to track down Ausin Darbyshire.
Yeah, Darbyshire in the 66 started 24th, up to 9th place right now. Up 15 positions from the start of the race, looking really strong, but really strong's not going to win you a championship. He's going to have to work a little harder than that, but still a solid day for the 66 so far. Sam Close, another playoff contender, and he's battling side by side with the 66. Maybe surprised that this 5 truck hasn't been in victory lane more this season, considering they started off so strong at the Daytona racetrack. So, smoking.
Yeah.
And it's Matt Hackathorn in the 44. He's 2 laps down. That motor has expired.
Not sure what happened to him. This is kind of peculiar. Oh, okay.
Accident out of turn 4 about last lap by. And slipped.
Gonna nose
and, tank slapped into the wall hard. And the
that wasn't a caution. Oh, they were running custom or admin caution, so I guess they didn't throw it because Orville was the only car in that area of the track. But Gruenberg going to continue his lead out of Cameron Rich. Now, I'm really curious to see how this is going to play later on in the run because I think Cameron Rich has probably got the best long run truck out of anyone.
Yeah, Cameron definitely is quicker. I would say even quicker. Maybe if you consider the short run shorter than 5 laps, but after 5 laps, the 17 truck is just ready to go. Big slide into turn 4, but chasing down Gruenberg was a couple hundredths quicker last time, and this time through for Gruenberg it was a 32.333, and for Rich a 32.396, so just about even. But I think the 17 is definitely going to get into the zone here.
Yeah, and I imagine also he's going to be a little bit patient with Gruenberg. No need to force the issue and burn your tires out immediately. Probably going to try to save them as much as he can. Maybe find some ways he can get around Gruenberg as we're looking at a battle between the 63 and the 42.
Yeah, Marquis Smith and Jeffrey Fisher side by side. This is for 6th place. Fisher trying to steal it away from the 63. And now drag race down the front stretch. 44 laps complete of our 114 tonight. Wow, that got tight down into turn 1.
Yeah, and Marquis got loose into the corner and is still loose down.
This is only going to get worse.
2.
He's still bobbling.
And should be fine now.
Woo, look at Sam Close in the background, sliding up the racetrack. Now up the road, Josh Adams is down to the inside of Marquis Smith in the 63.
Fantastic recovery for Josh Adams.
He'll need a couple more spots to be back where he was running before the spin, so he's definitely making some ground up. I don't think he's got a race-winning truck tonight, but he certainly has a solid top 5 machine, the SM1.
He's definitely got a solid truck underneath him to get himself in that position, but Marquis Smith is not giving up the spot that easily. He's going to force his truck to the inside.
Oh,
Adam's going to try to pinch him on the outside and some contact between them almost. But Marquis Smith is going to fall back into 8th place.
A couple spots lost for the 63 truck as Fisher and Adams get on by. Next closest battle is back in 10th, Close and Hunt. And then looks like Everyone else is sorted out pretty evenly. Cameron Rich thought he was going to be quicker than Gruenberg, but it looks like he's started to drop off the pace, and he bobbles more in turn 2.
Wow, I want to see an onboard replay of that. That was dead. He was really sideways there.
Whew, nice quick correction. Quick reflexes on that 17.
Made it look easy. And here we got Cameron Rich. Yeah, he's still trying to. I think he's actually started to really burn off his stuff. He's still bobbling loose out of turn 2, and he's now falling into the clutches of Chuck Sweeting behind.
Yeah, Sweeting is actually, last time by, is actually a little quicker, about a 10th quicker than Cameron Rich, and is beginning to close up. And Rich looks like he's struggling now, and I wonder if the conditions have anything to do with this. 119, they're beginning to get even warmer. Finney, we're up about 9, almost 10 degrees from when we started this race. And maybe there was a sweet spot that Rich's truck performed best, and I do see a truck on the pit lane. That is Marquis. Oh no, on the pit lane, he's crashed on the front straight. And Marquis Smith, who's running inside the top 10, big right side damage to that 63.
Yeah, we were just watching with him. And unfortunately, he's another victim that's fallen to the loose track conditions. And same thing out of turn 4.
Yeah, just got it already sideways corrected and pounds the concrete. Woo!
Whoa, almost clipped Darbyshire there.
And then just locked up the brakes to keep it straight, but that's probably going to be a DNF for the 63, looking at how much damage that is. Probably not going to be repairable, but at least not be fun to drive. Darbyshire now in the 66. Mentioned he was sitting in 9th. He's about to get away 8th place from Sam Close. So this 66 truck, remember how deep he started in the field, 24th. He continues his climb.
And actually, if we can go on board with, actually, looks like he's going to let Dave Hunt by. But if you look at the back of the 66, I think did get a little piece of Marquis Smith. You see the rear end, right rear end.
Little bit of damage to the right rear. And looking at the racetrack, cloud cover over the speedway.
That's going to be a blessing for a lot of these guys. Keep an eye on the track temp, though. It doesn't look like it's cooling down at all. So I think it might take a little bit for the track to start to cool down.
Well, so that was one of the changes in the most recent build, was giving the tracks depth. So there is still heat kind of stored underneath the track surface in the subsurface, and the dirt below the racetrack. Is Cameron Rich is caught in his passing Matt Gruenberg.
Oh, Gruenberg definitely had some sort of issue.
Yeah, that was not a good lap for the 54.
Come across the line.
That was going to be a 34-second lap at least for the 54.
Yeah, ran a 33.8 and to Cameron Rich's and Sweeting's 33.2s.
Oh, and Rich still bobbling out of turn 2, but trying to just drive away from Matt Gruenberg. Now this is his opportunity to steal this lead away. Cameron Rich could be a championship contender with this 54. He's just got to really get a commanding lead here early, because we know that Matt's going to be really good at the short track stuff.
And I think he's going to just be able to do it, as Gruenberg's also loose on the inside. No, not quite clear, as Cameron Rich actually goes so wide he hits the wall on the front straight. That's something you see every day, but Rich, it looks like he's almost able to stay clear. Not quite. Gruenberg's going to have barely a nose to the inside of the 17.
Slip, and he's in the wall! He's in the wall, bounces off, does Cameron Rich, and as quick as he was in the lead, he's back to second with some big right side damage on the right front fender of that 17 truck.
And you can tell that both these guys are really pushing their trucks as much as they can here, and Chuck Sweeting's now caught up to both of them, and he looks like he has this truck underneath him the most, as they say that he's sliding out of turn 4.
I don't know if anybody's got other trucks underneath him right now, and Rich's got to pull over, and Sweeting, scrapes the fence on the entry to turn 1. Everyone driving on the edge of their seats right now got those wheels cranked up as they try to chase down Gruenberg, but they can't do it. I want to go back and watch that out of turn 2 the last time by. It was Cameron Rich who got into the wall really hard out of turn 2. Here's a replay of it. Let's watch from Chuck Sweeting's on board from behind.
And you can see even he's loose and going up the hill a little bit, but yeah, and it's a hard lick for the 17 into the wall, and Gruenberg was able to slide his way past.
Now Sweeting tries to get back by the 17 on the inside lane, and how much is that damage hurting the 17? It looks like quite a bit.
I don't even think it's really just the damage. I think he's just burned up his stuff too much, and the tires are the thing hurting him the most as the sun begins to come back out.
So in all that time, the track temp didn't go down, it actually went up. So these drivers are continuing to fight the temperature of this racetrack. It is hot enough to cook an egg on it right now, and it's only going to get hotter. We saw temps of 138 or more in the Cup Series race, the Mission 22 series on Tuesday. And And they're not going to quite get there, but Atlanta already is out of control, and when you add the hot track, it's just going to get worse.
It's even worse because the surface is really abrasive on the tires, so you're going to lose the tires more, and it's just an old surface, so it doesn't have a lot of grip in it, so it's just going to compound and be worse as the run goes on. As you see Jeffrey Fisher get past the 12 of Cody McCorkle, who's 6 laps down.
Yeah, McCorkle is 6 laps down. We have 16 trucks on the lead lap, 17 trucks on the racetrack after we've had 23 take the green, so we're definitely losing some trucks here with some adversity. 33 minutes to go if we were to go green all the way to the end. We're lap 56 complete.
Yeah, I'm sure for some of these drivers this race could end sooner.
And actually next time by is going to be our halfway. So Gruenberg will soon clinch the most laps led, which is going to help him out in the championship hunt. Chad Frankenfield in the 15. I would have thought he'd had more pace tonight, Finian, but only 4th best. It certainly ain't bad, but I thought he'd be up there with the 54. What's up with the 15?
I just think it's not. This track's not really suiting his condition. This is driving style as much as we would have thought. Whoa! As he's loose and through the grass. Whoa! Violently over over the asphalt.
He's gonna lose a lot more time like this.
And actually, here comes Josh Adams. He's had a fantastic recovery, about to be up into 4th.
So as much as this doesn't suit Chad Frankenfield, I think it does suit Josh Adams, judging by that. But let's watch Chad Frankfield's off-road excursion here on the front straight one more time, maybe preferably from, how about inside the truck this time? This is just going dead straight, and then it's gone.
Got loose in the first part of the quad oval.
Wow.
Or the tri-oval.
Quad oval, you were right.
Oh, yeah.
Here's a track map for you, in case you need it. 1, 2, 3, 4 turns. Anyway, 1.2 seconds is the advantage for Gruenberg. He's just found something. He's driving away from 2nd and 3rd. And Josh Adams now was the quickest car on the racetrack, quickest truck on the racetrack last time by, but he's got a 6-second gap to make up. Behind him, Frankenfield, Fisher, and Robert Hill Jr. fight for 5th place.
Whoa, and it's very close quarters between them. You see Hill go to the outside of Jeffrey Fisher. Is going to be side by side on the front straightaway. 50, looks like the 42 is actually going to give him the spot.
I think these drivers are more concerned about just making it to the end rather than racing, and this is one of those racetracks, much like a road course, race the track, don't race the cars. And because if you race the cars, you're going to miss your marks and you're going to hit the fence.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what we saw with Cameron Rich. He's still running in 3rd, but 3.5 seconds back from the leader now.
Yeah, I have to imagine it's a combination of the tires and that right front damage. We've seen the damage be pretty sensitive tonight. Jordan McEvoy and Corey Lindsay, both these drivers are playoff drivers, sitting 11th and 12th. Cameron Rich in the 17 is down pit lane here, Finian, and this seems like a little early for pit stops. Maybe not, but it's come down now. Maybe he's just hitting a certain number to make it to the end of the race.
I think, you know,
stop.
He's got the halfway points, what he's needed, so I think he just figured might as well just come down now. Otherwise, he could potentially reconcile out, because I think he's burned out his tires more than almost anyone out there right now.
Robert Hill Jr. makes his way into 4th place. A strong run by Robert Hill Jr., one of our playoff contenders. Started in 15th, up 11 spots from the start.
Yeah, I'm surprised Frankenfield hasn't opted to come down pit road. I know it's a little bit early, but I think those fresh tires can help him out a little bit. Definitely is struggling on the older ones.
There is the 17. And the lap time difference is going to be about 3 seconds a lap. Is how much better new tires are than old ones. And if Matt Gruenberg stays out another lap, which it looks like he will, this will probably give the 17 truck the lead when they come back down to pit lane. So some strategy being played here by the 17 of Cameron Rich. We'll see if anybody else tries any combination of said strategy. But we're running 34 5s around here. We ran 31 2s as are some of our better lap times earlier in the night. No one else biting pit lane except for Rusty Caple in the 9 truck. He's down on pit road. And no one else from the lead group. Second that with Chad Frankenfield. He makes his way down.
This will be good for him, although again, the overall scheme of things looks like the 17 is going to be out there again. Just not sure how he is in the fuel situations. We're going to have to kind of see how that plays out between them.
Chuck Sweeting has reeled Gruenberg back in just a touch. Last time by, they were dead even, 33.849 for both of those drivers, and both of them will stay out get another lap. I think for these two. Oh, no!
Oh.
Swinging hard in the wall at a turn 4.
Oh,
he's
he's
going to
still
slide
not
out of
done.
control. Does he save it?
Yeah, it looks like he is.
Oh.
He's going to be very slow off going into turn 1.
Yeah, and he's not a playoff contender, so
Oh, and still slipping and sliding.
I wouldn't be surprised to see this be the end of the night for the 26. And again, it's just so quick how quickly it snaps. And that's concrete. Not safe for barrier. It hurts just that much more. And he's going to try to get himself back up to speed, but I just have to imagine that truck's going to be hurting pretty bad.
And actually, yeah, so I was just doing the math in my head. So I think that the 27 of Cameron Rich, or sorry, the 17 of Cameron Rich should be good to the end because you pit with about 60 laps to go and went about 30. So I think he should only have to make one more stop.
Yeah, one more stop will be the call here for the 17.
Which kind of makes me surprised then because no one else has come down yet. Because you would think that they would have to, because they're all going to have to make at least one more stop.
Yeah, I think they're just playing the long game here, the overcut strategy. There's so many laps left that I think you could make that work. I'm okay with camera strategy just because I could see a caution happening later in the race to prevent the overcut from really working.
I could see though Gruenberg making this work because he seems to have these older tires underneath him. Hasn't run into problems yet, unlike most of the field. So I can see him try to pull off a strategy like that. However, everyone else seems to be kind of struggling with these older set of tires.
Don't sneeze, you'll crash your truck. That's how on edge these things have been tonight.
And you can see too, if you go through almost any car, it's a lot of left and right into the wheel.
Jump on board with.
And you can see the fine input to the corner from Robert Hill. Just trying to keep this thing going in one direction.
Cameron Rich ran a 32.5 already, so he's already about a half a second off the brand new fresh tires pace. So it's amazing how quickly the tires fall off here. And there's the leader. That's Matt Gruenberg right in front of him.
He's catching him to unlap himself.
And look at the speed difference between these two trucks.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to be in the lead by a huge margin when the 54 comes to pit lane. I mean, look at the difference in corner speed.
Yeah, this is good also for Cameron Rich too to unlap himself, so that way if a caution comes out, he's not completely off strategy and out of penalty compared to everyone else.
And we see Rusty Caple in the 9 truck getting by the 99 Race Clark. And no other takers to pit lane yet. Had a handful. Oh, the 99 was a little loose out of turn 4 as well. Let's see. Where is Chad Frankenfield? He is 1 lap down. And he's about 10 seconds behind the 17 truck. Is that right? That seems right. Yeah. That is correct. All right, I think it's middle of a pit stop sequence here, but I think we're going to do a SimTV sound surge and let you listen to the sounds of Atlanta Motor Speedway. So while that sound was going on, we were crunching some numbers, trying to do some math, and I think we figured out, Finian, that Cameron Rich has to make another stop. That's the bet he's made and has to lay in. But everyone else looks like they're trying to go and make it on just one more stop. So really the 17 and 15 have committed themselves to one more stop than everybody else. How is that going to work out? I mean, are the tires make a big enough difference that they can make up that ground?
I think that's where we're going to pretty much find out here if it's worth enough for these drivers to make another stop on fuel. But here's Corey Lindsay leading, potentially leading this next wave of pit stops of drivers who are able to go to the end from here.
So 25, 35, 45. Yeah, I mean, I think right now if you can go 45 laps on fuel, then you're good to the end in the next 2 or 3 laps for sure. And I'm sure they can go a little farther than that anyway. So I think really Cameron Rich had to do something to mix up his strategy.
Yeah, and here comes the wave of people down Rubber Hill. Oh, he's overshot his pit stall by a mile.
Yeah, that was a big mistake for the 38. But the good news is that the gaps were so big on the racetrack that it might not hurt him. But Matt Gruenberg is down in pit lane, your leader. Here he comes.
Yeah, you can see Jordan McEvoy. Joshua Adams is also into his pit stall.
So the field has come on down for what should be their final stop of the night. But for the 15 and the 17, they will have to make another stop. The question is, when will
Adams
they do
got
that?
a speeding penalty. He's holding in his pit stall.
Yeah, for the 95. Must be a penalty for him. And yes, a speeding penalty for the 95 of Josh Adams. He rolls off pit lane. Should lose a bunch of spots in this whole process. Now, Cameron Rich and Chad Frankenfield, they will be first and second here. But not for too long as these other guys come back out of the pits. So now what's the plan here if you're the 17 and 15? You're on a completely different strategy. You have to pit one more time. Everyone else is already done. How do you overcome this? I mean, when's the right time to pit?
Well, they pit 30 laps into the run. I imagine if, from my math, if they cut it around 30, 30, 30 through all 3 of the stints after that caution, I think that'll be the ideal strategy. So Rich should come in around 13 laps at around lap 90, maybe even sooner. Actually, might come in between 85 and 90.
Yeah, I think you need to leave yourself enough laps for those tires to make a difference. So that's the question for Cameron Rich. When do you come? I mean, like you said, I think you got to split it up even to maximize the tire life.
Oh,
and he's sliding, and that's not how you maximize the tire life.
Yeah.
Running out of laps here. About 20 minutes left in this race if we were to go green to the end. Everyone has come for their second stop of the night, so everyone should be good with the exception of the front 2 trucks. Actually, Close is actually on the same strategy as well. So the 5 of Sam Close trying to do something similar, but he's already dropped to 4th place. Matt Gruenberg has launched himself up into 3rd. And there is how big of a penalty that was for Josh Adams. It's basically a lap penalty is what has ended up happening. 1 lap down. And
really unfortunate for him because he was having a phenomenal run up until that point.
Dave Hunt, Rusty Caple trading spots. Caple on much older tires, and he's going to go down very quickly.
Yeah, Caple on the same strategy as the 17 and the 15.
There's Richard Hinds on through. Hinds also a playoff contender, and you look at the blue on the left-hand side of the screen. I mean, I think the front 3 makes sense to me, but everyone else kind of a mix-up here. Robert Hill Jr. having a spectacular night. Richard Hinds, Rusty Caple. I think if you had told me they'd be running better than Darbyshire and McEvoy and maybe even Lindsay, I'd be surprised by that. So, a bit of a shake-up in the playoff field. We'll see how the points shake up next week as we continue the playoffs.
Yeah, Gruenberg is making up heaps of time. He's down to 7 seconds. When he came out, it was around 13. So he's really started to reel these guys back in. And remember, it really doesn't matter where they are now. It matters where they are at the end.
So really what Rich and Frankenfield are going to try to do is, in about 5 or 10 laps, come on down, get tires, and then just try to run them down. Yes, and it's going to be really hard to do.
And they're going to have to be pushing through. They can't. Well, yeah, they have to be maximizing, the amount of speed they get. Otherwise, they're going to not going to work out for them. So we'll have to keep an eye on them and see that. Although again, it looks like a lot like Rich is really struggling. Frankenfield seems to have his truck more underneath him, but is not as fast as the 17.
You see, there goes the 95, a much fresher tires blowing right by, and here comes Gruenberg now. He's going to just blitz right on by the 15 truck.
Frankenfield's even going to give him the lane because he knows it's pretty much futile at this point.
And now it's only 3 seconds up the road to Cameron Rich, who's had a couple laps led now. He's led 8 of our 82, but Matt Gruenberg has led 69, and I'm going to imagine that is going to, it's going to increase quite a bit in these last few laps. All right, too early to make a prediction here, Finian. What's your call on this strategy that the 17 and 15 are playing? Do you think it'll work at all?
I don't think so. I think the track is too treacherous, because again, you're gonna need you're gonna need a push like hell to try to make up the time that you're gonna lose from the pit stop and get the most out of the fresh tires. And we're seeing that it's really hard to do exactly that. So, not to discount Cameron Rich's talent as a driver, but this track is really hard to drive right now, especially if you're pushing the car to its limits.
And here comes the battle for the lead, and Gruenberg going to just blow right on by the 17.
Not much of a battle, as 54 is going to just blow on by Cameron Rich and retake his lead.
Some lap traffic up ahead that the 54 will have to navigate. Josh Adams and Jordan McEvoy, these are the guys that are battling. And Ausin Darbyshire. This is for a top 10 spot here as well. So running out of laps, and when will the 17 and 15 make their stop, and will they just try to stay out and hope for a yellow? I mean, a yellow would save them right now.
I mean, they could try to stay out and hope for a yellow, but again, that's just hoping on something that might not happen. It could, especially considering how we've seen...
Oh, Hinds up in the fence out of turn 4, scrapes the wall.
Yeah, speaking of which, yeah, especially considering we've seen how many guys have had wrecks. Although we did go through an entire green flag cycle without a wreck happening, so you would think that if it would have happened, it would have. And these guys were able to go through an entire cycle without wrecking. So I don't think a caution will come out at this point.
We've had one caution for a total of 4 laps. We've had 6 lead changes at the front of the field, most of them through a green flag pit stop sequence. And Matt Gruenberg extends his lead. So Cameron Rich and Chad Frankenfield are going to go at least a lap and a half down at this point. And I just don't think it's possible to dig out of that hole. Lap 86 of 114 complete. And we've got a Talladega next week. Is that where we go? So we're going super speedway racing. And that's really a wild card for everybody. It's also a place where you can make up a lot of points if you're in a big hole.
I think that's really going to just be the big wild card, because that's a huge unknown. You can kind of, again, at most of the tracks you can kind of gauge everyone's pace going into there. But Talladega, again, great equalizer. Everyone's going to be everywhere. And if I'm Matt Gruenberg, I'll be a little bit worried, because we know he's an extremely fast driver, obviously proving it here tonight. But at Talladega, that's where his competitors have a really good chance of trying to get up on a lot of points for him. And he could also have a really high chance of wrecking or being involved in a wreck there.
And then we go to Circuit of the Americas the following week. And Circuit of the Americas, we ran that race last year.
Yeah.
And that was actually one of Matt Gruenberg's first races, I believe. And he was decent, but he was definitely not one of his better races. I think that's another weak point for the 54 in the championship hunt as well.
Looking at...
and it's almost certainly a really good race for Cameron Rich.
Yeah, so I'm sure he's going to have that race circled, because we know Cameron Rich is really good at the road course. So is Chad Frankenfield as well. He's also a pretty good road course driver.
Yeah. So that road course, the 20-turn road course in Texas, that racetrack is very technical. It's pretty fast, but with these trucks last year, it proved to be, I wouldn't say a race of attrition, because it's pretty hard to hit anything there, but it was definitely separated the men from the boys on the road courses. We also ran Lime Rock last year, another race that was pretty largely separated throughout the field. We don't do a whole lot of road course racing on the truck side of things, more so than we do on the cup side of things. And here comes Cameron Rich down to pit lane for his final stop of the night, and I'm really curious to see where this pops him out.
Yeah, and I'm also trying to see when Frank will stay out there another lap. I imagine he's going to come in relatively soon.
Yeah, so Gruenberg already in turn 4 to put the 17 one lap down. There he goes. So Cameron Rich now just going to be leaving the box here. And it's going to be pretty far to make that up.
Yeah, Frankenfield now coming in on down to make his final stop of the race.
So now these guys better hope it goes green all the way to the end.
Yeah.
They've made their bed. Now they have to lie in it. Matt Gruenberg leads the way. He's been the dominant truck of the night. He's led 76 laps. If he could lead another 25 or so, he'd be the winner again this season. He's got the most wins of anybody, I think 5. And this will be his 6th win of the season.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at the gap right now. I'm not sure that's right or not, but
Oh, yeah, it is.
Oh, yeah, it is. He's got a 16.6 second lead to Chuck Sweeting. Half a lap. Over half a lap.
Yeah, so here's Matt Gruenberg, and here's Chuck Sweeting. It literally is half a lap between the top two. Sam Close is down on pit lane. He was on the same strategy as the 15 and 17. And if it's not going to work for either of those two drivers, it certainly won't work for Sam. So where is the 17 car? How much time is he going to make up on his outlaps here? Sam Close into his box. So Cameron Rich lap time this time through is going to be very telling. His best time so far tonight at 31.7. Of course, track times have risen quite a bit. That time through was a 32.208. Gruenberg was a 33.164, so about a second quicker. But he's got to make up about 40 seconds worth of time.
Yeah, at this point, if I was him, I wouldn't even bother with going for the win. Just try to get inside the top three if you can. A much more realistic go. And actually, if we could cut to Gruenberg to see where he is, as Cameron Rich is in turn 3.
Off into turn 1, so it's about a lap and a half difference between these two. Honestly, the better choice would be to get back on the lead lap and hope for a yellow, because there's only 4 trucks on the lead lap as they're scored at the moment. And Gruenberg has just done everything right, from the strategy to the pit stop sequence to the pole position to start the night. This is just a typical Matt Gruenberg. He's going to take you out and kick you into the ground. I mean, that's what Matt Gruenberg is good at. He's so fast at almost every kind of racetrack. He's going to kick you while you're down. He's trying to win a championship. He doesn't care that you made a bad pit call or made a different strategy call. He's going to go out there and beat you and tell you what you did wrong. And he's going to go out there and win the championship by 50 points. I mean, this is how this 54 crew operates. Now, if anybody could figure out how to beat him, they'd be the champion. But that's what we're here to do in the next couple of races. And I think he's got some vulnerabilities at Talladega and at Coda. I don't think there's going to be very good races for the 54. And we only have a couple races left this season. So you can't let the 54 get big leads like this if you want to have a chance to win the championship. So next week at Talladega, you bet that every driver in that field is going to be leaving that 54 out to dry if they want a chance at the championship. Cameron Rich, let's go to TV3. So there is Matt Gruenberg off into turn 3 right now. Where's Cameron Rich? Exiting turn 2. So he's already made up a bunch of time. Once he's back on the lead lap, then things start to kind of come into the realm of possibility a little bit. But those tires will fall off the cliff at some point. And how far they fall off the cliff is the question.
Okay, and we're just kind of keeping an eye on him. I think really for him, like you said, it's just a matter of getting back on the lead lap at this point.
No other battles on the racetrack with the exception of Jordan McEvoy and Ausin Darbyshire. This is a fight for 7th place. Both these cars on equal tires.
And like you said earlier, it is really just amazing that these guys are barely not even getting full throttle until they get out of the turn.
They're even lifting on the front straightaway. We saw half the cars that crashed on the front straight. I mean, that's how much trouble it's been out there tonight. Matt Gruenberg now has a 20-second lead over the 2nd place car. It is within the realm of possibility that he will lap every car in the field. That would be, frankly, pretty hilarious.
He's already put everyone but the top 4 a lap down. He's got to catch Jeffrey Fisher, Robert Hill Jr., and Chuck Sweeting to succeed in that.
Well, that's just impressive. I don't care who you are. I don't care what your opinions are. But for Matt Gruenberg to go out there and lap the entire field, that is domination on a level. I don't think we've ever seen that on SimTV before. Not once.
Yeah, we've gotten very close quite a few times to pretty much around this, where the top 5, top 4, top 3 have been a lap down, but not every single car.
So Darbyshire up into 7. This has been a really strong night for the 66. Very impressed with this run, and I think Talladega will be a pretty good run for the 66 next week, and I'm questioning Coda a little bit for him, but we'll see how it goes. I mean, this is a good start to the playoffs for Ausin Darbyshire. Cameron Rich in the 17 truck up to 9th place, entering turn number 1 right now. Matt Gruenberg exiting turn 2. And we'll be coming back to 15 laps to go next time by.
About 85 laps and counting.
Make that 86 as it comes off turn 4. Richard Hinds in the 2 truck. Come to a stop. Tires this late in the game aren't really going to do you a whole lot of good at all. And Jeffrey Fisher is the last truck on the lead lap, and we'll look off the rear gearbox here, and we'll see if we can see where Matt Gruenberg is.
Pretty sure that's him that just came off the corner.
Yes, it is. You see that bright purple truck up the lane. And at the rate they're going, it's about 0.7 a second a lap is what Gruenberg is making up on Jeffrey Fisher. Don't know if he'll get to Hill and Sweeting, but he certainly might get to 4th place.
Yeah, Gruenberg, I mean, I can't imagine trying to tell him to slow down, but he really doesn't need a push at this point. He can just kind of coast home these last 14 laps. He can give up a second a lap, and
I don't think I'm going to say he's not even pushing. I think the reason why he's out front so far is because he's been taking care of his stuff all night. He's been taking care of his tires. He's been taking care of his brakes. That's why he's out front. I don't know if he's even pushing at all. He's probably just hanging out right now, just running 80%, 90%, and still beating everyone. He's not the quickest car in the... Actually, yes, he is. Okay, he's the quickest car on the racetrack that is not pit recently. Cameron Rich up to 6th place now, so this is not all lost for him. He's gaining spots. He's inside the top 10. It's just not necessarily going to be a race win.
I think this was a good strategy because he definitely seemed like he was really starting to struggle on these older. You can see him actually starting to struggle now.
Yeah.
With these older tires.
He's already,
oh boy.
He's already within 0.3 of Matt Gruenberg's time. That's how slow that he's gotten the last few couple
and
laps.
actually Frankfield's catching up and behind him about a second and a half further back.
So Gruenberg now has only a couple seconds to catch Jeffrey Fisher and only leave the podium on the lead lap.
And speaking of the podium, it looks like Robert Hill Jr. He's starting to make some inroads in on Chuck Sweeting.
Yeah, we have not talked about this 38 truck a whole lot tonight. He started off the season with a bang at Watkins Glen International. That's where he won his first and I believe only race of the season. And at the road courses. And he was self-proclaimed not very good at them, but we got Coda coming up in a couple weeks. Not saying it's anything like Watkins Glen, but that's an opportunity for Robert Hill Jr. to get himself really in the championship picture.
Yeah, and I mean, looking at his first 6 races, he finished inside the top 15, but the next half was almost every finish was outside the top 15. So except for 2, 5th place finish at Daytona and a 14th place finish at Sonoma Rallycross. So it's been a bit of a struggle in the second half of the season for Robert Hill Jr., but he's really kicked it back into more or less where we probably expected him to be for most of the season. And definitely he's going to get a really solid points finish out of this, no matter what happened, I think, at this point, because he's catching. He's still catching in on Chuck Sweeting, can make it a 2nd place finish.
Yeah, his goal, I guess, for Talladega next week is to survive. The goal for Coda is go out there and win, and I think he's capable of it. So Chad Frankenfield's actually passed Cameron Rich. And Rich is going to be getting into struggle on these tires now. And actually, Cameron Rich last time through was a 10th slower. So that's why I think Matt Gruenberg isn't pushing, because we knew Cameron Rich was pushing. I don't think Matt Gruenberg is. He's managed to keep those tires lasting well longer than anybody else. And now he's closing in on Jeffrey Fisher. That's that purple truck just up the road. And that will be the 4th truck on the racetrack, position-wise. It will also be the first car 1 lap down. 10 laps to go, make it 9. If there's any doubts about Matt Gruenberg's talent, I don't think anybody did doubt it, but if anybody was, I think that's been shut down tonight. I mean, this is domination on another level.
Yeah, and actually, if we want to kind of really give scope to how ginormous his lead is at this point at 26 seconds, we want to cut to the starter cam. And there he comes. I'm gonna wait 26 seconds.
So coming up on SimTV this week, tomorrow we got the Race Kings Cup Series. That's who's on tomorrow night. And then Tuesday is the Fuel Mission 22 Cup Series, along with the Elite Modifieds on speed51.com/Elite Modified Tour. And then Wednesday, Thursday, we are off. And there is Robert Hill Jr. Comes across the line.
Yeah, I was actually able to get around Chuck Sweeting.
It's actually, we should have done it the other way around. It was only been a couple seconds.
He's only a few seconds behind them.
Cameron Rich has begun to pick the pace back up just a touch, and that time through was really slow, at 34.470, so I guess whatever happened last time by slowed him up quite a bit. Jeffrey Fisher sees that truck in the mirror. Imagine if a caution were to come out right now, that would completely change the game here. But
yeah, absolutely. In a way, I don't even know what you would want to do if you're a truck a lap down.
Don't know what you want to do, because you could bury. If everybody disagreed not to pit, they'd bury the 54 if they could, but I just don't think that's going to be a realistic possibility. So Jeffrey Fisher trying to stay on the lead lap here, just in case that were to happen, but it's looking like that's not necessarily going to be the case here. As Fisher, this is also a great run for the 42 tonight, but a better run for the 54.
And off he goes to the inside of Fisher. Will make the pass. Can't imagine the 42 put up much of a fight.
Nope. 5 laps to go for Matt Gruenberg. It'll be his 6th win of the season. If he can get around just a couple more miles, Robert Hill Jr. 27 seconds behind. Then it's Chuck Sweeting that is 28 seconds back. So there are 2nd and 3rd. And if you just see at the top of your screen, there is Matt Gruenberg. That's all that stands between Gruenberg and lapping literally every car on the racetrack.
Yeah, I don't think he'll get there. If this race was 10, 15 laps more, yeah, I would say you definitely have a shot at doing it, but I mean, I don't think you can complain with lapping all but 3 cars, including himself.
We have had the all but 3 lapped before. I don't think we've done anything better than that. Maybe 2.
I think we've done 2. I can't remember where, but I feel like we have done it.
Might have been an Outsiders race.
Yeah.
I thought it actually might be at Atlanta, their season finale from last year.
I wouldn't be too surprised because I think this track kind of lends towards that. Yeah. Especially if you have one driver that really knows how to save their tires well.
And that's this guy. Still running in the mid to high 33s, 33.7 last time by for Gruenberg. That's significantly faster than everybody else, with the exception of Sam Close and Richard Hinds, who are on much fresher tires.
Yeah, and actually Frankenfield too has been able to go faster than the 54, but again, he's also on fresher tires.
Not by 5 laps, but more like 15 to 20. Yeah. It's a pretty big gap. So the gap between the 2nd and 3rd place cars has not increased all that much. Still 27.8 back to Robert Hill and 29.2 back to Chuck Sweeting. But it will be 2 laps to go this time through, as you saw Chuck Sweeting bobbling there for a moment.
Oh, I think Sweeting's crashed.
Or
almost crashed.
Almost crashed. Let's quickly take a look back. And whoa! Was a big slide. He's actually pulled off down to the inside lane. And here comes Gruenberg. So Gruenberg will lap up to 2nd place. With 2 laps to go, coming back to the white flag next time by. Robert Hill Jr. enters turn 3, trying to run away. Chuck Sweeting dropping down the order. Something's amiss with that 26 machine. It will not be as good of a finish as he could have hoped for.
Yeah, not sure what's going on with him. That truck seems fine.
It's running. But Matt Gruenberg in the 54 will take the white flag this time by. He started on pole tonight. He led the most laps by a huge majority. He played the strategy right. He's played this whole season right. There's nobody that's even close to the 54. I thought Chad Frankenfield would put up a fight, but he wasn't able to do so tonight. Heading into the rest of the playoffs, the driver to beat, without question, is the 54 Matt Gruenberg. And this car rolls through turns 3 and 4. And he'll lap everybody but 2nd place Robert Hill Jr. out of turn 4. Matt Gruenberg will win at Atlanta.
Yeah, win number 6 this season for the 54 in the Truck Series. Gonna have to wait 28 seconds for Robert Hill to get back to the line as the only other truck on the lead lap to finish.
And unfortunately for the 26th of Chuck Sweeting, he'll be scored in 13th. Not sure why he bailed, but unfortunately it was 2 laps too short to make it to the end. Across the line, Robert Hill Jr. still not there yet.
There he is.
There he is. Out of the final corner, Robert Hill Jr. is going to bring it home as the only other driver on the lead lap. He finishes 2nd at Atlanta. Here's a look at your race results. What an event for the 54.
Yeah, just sheer domination. And I think the fact that almost every other truck is scored as a lap down or more really just shows you how much of a one-sided affair this race was.
Put this up top here as we watch the burnout by the 54 Gruenberg. And for the 6th time this season, a celebration on the front straight. We'll be back in just a moment to interview Matt Gruenberg and a couple others. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Welcome back live to SimTV here now with third place driver Jeffrey Fisher, the number 42. Jeffrey, a really, really solid run for you in that 42 machine. Long race, a lot of green flag running, a lot of slipping and sliding. What was it like from your perspective in the cockpit? How'd you get yourself a solid top 5 finish?
The main thing was try not to slide the rears too much, so you can try to get some longer life in your tires over the run, not hit the wall coming off 4. Pretty much just staying out of trouble, keeping the truck clean with everyone else, trying to push too hard. Just stay focused and you can get a good result.
As we look towards the rest of the playoffs, obviously for a lot of drivers in this field, the playoffs not really a concern. Racking up race wins. We got Talladega next week, then Circuit of the Americas after that. Knoxville's coming up. Which of those racetracks is the one you got circled as the one you think you can win at?
Honestly, I know everyone always says it, but I feel like I got to get Talladega. But if I'm in a position, I'm going to push one of my teammates to the win instead of getting it for myself, because I'd rather them have the points and do good.
All right, well, a solid top 5 result for Jeffrey Fisher. Jeff, hey, thanks for talking to us. Congrats, a really good run, a podium for you in that 42 truck tonight.
Thank you. Can I do a shout out to One Sim with Darbyshire and Matt Gruenberg, bringing me on board racing them for about almost 2 years now. Learned a lot, and now since I'm on board with them, hopefully you're seeing a lot more of me in the future.
Awesome. Sounds awesome, Jeffrey. Thanks for talking.
Thank you.
Next up is going to be the driver, the number 38, Robert Hill Jr. Robert, a win at the beginning of the season at Watkins Glen propelled you into what I would consider a driver that could win almost every week. The first half of the season went a lot better than the second half, but this has been a really, really good night for you. Second place tonight. What did you need to go get that 54?
I don't think I had anything for Matt tonight. He was definitely the class of the field. Felt really good. I was able to get a good feel on the car. Was able to preserve my tires a lot longer than some of the other guys, and I think P2 was all we could get.
So next week we had to Dega, then after that we had to Circuit of the Americas. I know you said you're not a spectacular road course driver, but I disagreed with you then, and I still disagree with you now. Are those races you think you can win, especially Coda?
I think Talladega for sure. I'm pretty good at super speedway stuff. Anyone can win though. The guy starting last can win the race, as we all know. Coda, I think we'll compete. I don't know if we'll go out and win the thing, but I think it's going to be a good point stay there for us as well. But the one I'm definitely looking forward to is Rockingham for sure.
All right, Rockingham coming up on the schedule as well. Robert, thanks for talking to us. Any final thoughts leaving Atlanta?
Just got to thank the guys that helped me out tonight. Jake Finch, who was calling strategy for me. My teammate Cody McCorkle, he had some tough luck, but we'll get him back there at Dega. And thank you guys for broadcasting this, and congratulations to Matt once again.
All right, thanks a lot, Robert. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Moving on now to race winner Matt Gruenberg for the 6th time this season. Picks up a checkered flag, this time at Atlanta Motor Speedway in the playoffs. Very important to get yourself victories now, Matt. Is this win extra important with Talladega and Coda looming in the future?
Definitely. Talladega is going to be a toss-up all the time. You can kind of play some strategy there, but ultimately it just ends up being a lottery on who does well at those types of races. But Coda, I think we ran pretty well there last year, so I'm pretty confident that we'll have at least some solid pace there and get either a top 10 or a top 5. But yeah, definitely starting off with the playoffs here with the win is the right way to do it.
Absolutely. And obviously tonight's dominance was a bit more than usual, Matt. You lapped everybody but second place Robert Hill Jr. Was it the strategy that played into that, or did you just really whoop him that bad? Because it looked like you just whooped him that bad.
Yeah, I noticed a couple guys, they pitted early there on that last sequence, and I knew then that they were going to have to make at least one more pit stop when they started pitting around lap 60. And I think that kind of played a little bit of role into it on how many cars I was actually able to lap. And then I wasn't sure I was going to make it to Chuck there. And I was like, if I just had 10 more laps, I can make it to Chuck. But then I think he got loose, and then I lapped him. And then I was like, well, Robert, he just needs to make a little mistake here, and then I can do the whole field. But I mean, I can't really ask for more than a win anyway, but, it was fun to see how far I could actually get up there.
All right, man. Well, certainly some great racetracks for you looming up on the schedule. I think anything less than a championship at this point would be pretty disappointing for you in that 54 team, given how you've run this year. But any final thoughts leaving Atlanta?
Yeah, I agree. It's either a championship or bust at this point. But yeah, just want to shout out some of my huge fans. Shout out to my girl, Lil_Miss_Doodle on Instagram. If you haven't given her a follow yet, hopefully you do after this.
All right, Matt. Thanks for talking to us. Congratulations on your 6th win of the season. We'll see you next week in Dega.
Thank you. See you.
Well, that'll do it for us tonight here from Atlanta Motor Speedway. We'll update the points picture for you next week before we get into it. But Talladega looming up here. Finian, final thoughts leaving Atlanta other than, wow, that looked tricky, and I'm glad I was up in the stand and not down on the racetrack.
Yeah, honestly, I kind of would have liked to be down on the racetrack just to kind of get a feel of how hard it was to negotiate. I'm sure the drivers actually would have liked to be on it now. The track dropped down to 109 as it was around 120 for quite a bit of the race. But yeah, definitely it seemed the track conditions were very treacherous for these guys out there. It's honestly amazing that we only had one caution throughout the entire race, although again, quite a few guys didn't, drop out due to just crash damage at one point or another. So definitely looking forward to Talladega and seeing what it brings, especially with the playoff picture involved.
All right, that'll do it for us tonight. Tomorrow night is going to be the Race Kings Cup Series right here at Atlanta. We'll see you tomorrow night, 9:40 p.m. Eastern. Thanks for watching.